I was talking to a friend the other day who's been scrolling through endless pictures of modern living rooms, trying to decide whether a sleek built-in fireplace is worth the money and the hassle of installation. He's got a fairly open floor plan, a bit of chill in the evenings, and he's already spent a chunk on new flooring and paint, so he's nervous about throwing another big-ticket item into the mix. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The big question he asked me was simple. Will this thing actually heat my space without turning my whole house into an electric bill nightmare? And will it look as good in real life as it does in the showroom? First off, the Dimplex IgniteXL 100-inch model is one of those linear electric fireplaces that aims to be a year-round focal point rather than just a seasonal decorative piece. It's a massive 100-inch glass panel that stretches across an entire wall, so you're not dealing with a little mantle insert you can toss on a niche. That size alone changes the way you think about placement. If you have a wall that can accommodate a full-length unit, the visual impact is huge. You get a continuous flame that runs the length of the wall, which can make a high-ceiling living room feel cozier without the bulk of a traditional woodburner. The first practical thing I dug into was the heating claim, up to 1,000 square feet. In real terms, that means if your living area is roughly 9,001,000 SQ feet, the IgniteXL can serve as a primary heat source, but it's not a magic furnace. In a test setup I read about, a homeowner with a 950 square feet open concept space set the unit to its highest setting, and after a couple of hours the temperature rose by about 810 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a noticeable boost, especially when you're trying to take the edge off a cold front without cranking the central HVAC system. If you're just looking for a supplemental heat source for a specific zone, say a family room that tends to get colder than the rest of the house, the fireplace will handle that easily. Installation is where the hidden trade-offs start to appear. Dimplex markets the IgniteXL as easy installation, and that's true if you have a wall that's already pre-wired for a built-in unit or you're comfortable pulling a few extra wires. The unit runs on either 120V or 240V, which gives you flexibility depending on your electrical panel. However, the 2500-watt rating at 120V means you'll be pulling a lot of current, roughly a 20-amp circuit at full blast. Most standard bedroom or living room circuits are 15 or 20 amps, so you might need to add a dedicated line, especially if you plan to use the highest heat setting regularly. That adds a bit of cost and typically means calling an electrician, which is something renters or folks who shy away from DIY projects should consider. From a daily usability standpoint, the IgniteXL shines, no pun intended, with its Multi-Fire XD technology. Instead of a static image, the flames are generated by a series of LED bars that create a dynamic, three-dimensional effect. In the videos I watched, the flames respond to the heat setting. The higher the temperature, the more vigorous the fire looks. For someone who wants that cozy ambience without the mess of wood, it feels genuinely alive. The control panel is tucked away on the side, but you also get a remote that lets you dim the flame, adjust the heat, or turn it off entirely. The remote's range is solid, and the response is immediate, which is a small but important convenience when you're curled up on the couch. Now, let's talk about the practical downsides that can bite you after you've already signed the check. Because the unit is essentially a long slab of glass with internal heating elements, it can be a bit heavy. We're talking around 120 pounds. That makes the initial mounting a bit more involved than a lighter, smaller unit. If your wall isn't reinforced or you're installing over drywall without studs, you'll need a proper mounting framework. Also, the large glass surface can show fingerprints and smudges, especially in a high-traffic area. A quick wipe with a soft cloth does the trick, but it's an extra maintenance step that many don't think about until they see the streaks. Energy consumption is another hidden cost. At the top heat setting, the 2500-watt draw translates to about 2.5 kilowatt-hours per hour. If you run it for 8 hours a night during the winter, that's roughly 20 kilowatt-hours, which can add $2, $3 to your electric bill per night depending on your local rates. For occasional use or lower settings, the draw drops dramatically. The unit has a flame-only mode that runs at a fraction of the power while still giving you the visual effect. So if you're mindful about when you turn the heat on versus just using it for ambience, you can keep the ongoing cost reasonable. Who should consider buying this fireplace? If you're a homeowner with a modern aesthetic,